Hi, I'm Ray Patterson, and I'm actually demonstrating today how cluster genealogy can be very, very helpful. So here's an example. I had a great great grandfather whose name was Nicholas Schan, and he married a woman named Anna Maria Schlosser. And I know Anna Maria's parents' names were Thomas Schlosser and Magdalena Schlosser. So I went and I checked the 1870 census. That's what we're looking at right here. Is the 1870 census in Williamsburg, which is part of Brooklyn, which was taken on the second day of June 1870. And if you'll notice right here, living in a house where there were a number of other families, so it's probably an apartment complex or a tenement, here is Thomas Schlosser. There we go. He was 50 years old and his wife Magdalena was 47. And he was a fur dresser. That little looks like an F is a double S in German. The value of his personal estate at that time in 1870 at 50 years of age was $150. Pretty sad. He came from Bavaria, and that's a very large section of Germany, which is really a story for another screencast. But he had a son, John, 21, who also worked as a fur dresser. So they were all living together, this family. Cluster genealogy says if you're looking for, I couldn't find Nicholas Schan. That's my problem. I couldn't find him in the 1870 census. I found him otherwise in the 1880 census. So with cluster genealogy, you want to look at the neighbors of the people that you have found and see if there's anything there. So here we have somebody, Edward Merkel. That's not a big help. Goodman, Caroline Goodman. No, not a big help. But you hit pay dirt when you just move down here. And you see within the same tenement, so they had apartments in the same building, is somebody named Nicholas John. Now, the way the census is supposed to be done is that the last name is supposed to come first and then the first name. This is reversed. Now, it could be argued that there could be somebody named Nicholas John, but that's not that, because if you look down here, you find that his wife, a female, her name was John Anna Maria. So her name would have been Anna Maria John, and his name would have been John Nicholas. Doesn't make sense. There's something wrong with this entry here. But what gives it away is this one right here. This 3-year-old child, Magdalena, who lived with them. This was my great grandmother, who I used to refer to as Nanny. She was 3 months old at the time. She was born in New York. And so this must be Nicholas Schan, and this must be his wife, Anna Maria Schan. Now, my thinking is we don't know who gave the information on them. So when the census taker came and said, who's the people in the other house here? If they gave their name as Nicholas John, actually John is one of the spellings of Schan in Germany. If you look at the German records, the family was known as Schan, John, Jean, like a French Jean. So it was Nicholas Schan, but it sounded like John to the census taker. So this really should be Schan Nicholas, and this should be Schan Anna Maria. And there they are. And interestingly, he was only 26, she was 23. Whoops, this thing is really sensitive. He was a laborer, but his personal net worth was another much higher than his father-in-law. Really interesting stuff.